The In It Together with Lori Lynn Greene talk show is a positive way to start your day. Ready for some encouragement?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm pumped. Let's let the healing begin.
Come be inspired. Hear moving stories. Even laugh out loud.
Can't make heads or tail of what I'm saying.
Just incomprehensible.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
You'll hear real people doing real things to make a real impact.
You are heroes every day.
Hear honest, compassionate, engaging issues you care about.
You see people come together to do good in our community, and the more we come together, the more good we can do.
Listen in and get started on redesigning your life and hear what's positive in Greater Manchester. Here's your happy host, Lori Lynn Greene.
Good morning, friends in Greater Manchester. Welcome to In It Together. We are so glad that you've tuned in. If you'd like to find us on the web, you can go to inittogether.net, listen live or to previous shows, even link to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, our LinkedIn. Oh, my goodness. And if you like and follow us, you'll see we're bringing out the best in people to influence positive change in this community and beyond. Today is Recovery Now with my good friend Jen Lever of Recovery Now. And special guest, Jason Hart from Teen Challenge. He'll be sharing some of his story and what's going on at Teen Challenge. So you want to stay tuned. We'll be back right after this brief message.
Mark Major knows that great coaches need constant training to be effective. As a certified coach, teacher, and speaker with the John Maxwell team, Mark can help you identify and activate your personal and professional goals. If you seek to do more and be more, look up Mark on the web at johnmaxwellgroup.com/MARC Major or call 603-674-6818. Mark Major, growing leaders and adding value.
Hi, I'm Bob Bola, Chief Instructor of Defensive Strategies and anchor of the Personal Safety segment, where we talk about personal protection, situational awareness, and home defense. Tune in every Thursday at 9 a.m. and refuse to be a victim. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Greene.
Hi, I'm Mark Major, certified coach and speaker. Join me Wednesdays at 9 a.m. for It's a Wonderful Life, all about leadership development and living a positive lifestyle. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Greene.
Welcome back to In It Together, kicking off Recovery Now. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning, Lori.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. What a great morning it is.
It
and
is.
We're excited to have Jason Hart here from Teen Challenge, who took my call at a last minute. There was some things going on, but you know what? We're really glad you're here.
Thank you. Yeah.
I love your last name.
Yeah, we've been wanting to, we've had Teen Challenge on previously, and we've been wanting to have you on more because what we want is we want success stories. And, you know, we have found that in the Christian recovery community, the success rates are through the roof compared to other ones. Not that the other ones are bad. We believe that they serve a great purpose, sometimes life-saving purpose in this community. But what we looked at was how important it is to also think about a person's spirit and not just their physical needs. Anyway, before we get started, I was hoping, Jason, you could tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started in Teen Challenge, and then maybe we can go a little bit into your story.
Okay, yeah. I got started in Teen Challenge about 3 years ago, actually, and I was a resident myself, so it's a 15-month-long inpatient rehab program. So I came in after being broken down from a almost 2-year heroin addiction, and they took me in, and I graduated the program. And in order to become a staff member, I did a 6-month internship and then got hired on. So in total, I've been there just over 3 years, staff member for over a year now. And yeah.
That's awesome.
That's just the throat of it, yeah.
That's the throat of it. Okay. Now, I don't know if Jen has any questions or thoughts, or do you want to?
No, he must have come in just after my son was there. So I loved the program. I really, really, really did. There was a lot of great things that was done there for my son. unfortunately, it was part of his story, and he relapsed after and got 7 times worse.
Yep.
But he's 100% set free now, so that's history.
Amen.
But I love that program, and I love the people in it, and I love everything it represents. I love how they have you get up in the morning early and renew your mind, whether you like it or not. And then you found out, wow, this actually is making my mind
There's
better.
something to this. There's
It's
something
kind of
to
like
this.
you can't. You can lead a horse to water. You can't force him to drink, but they may take a taste after a while and see that it's good.
I want to take
you put it in front of them long enough, and they'll take a taste and see that it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to offer the good so that it
Absolutely.
outweighs the bad. So we want to take a moment here to thank all of our listeners, all of our Facebook Live, those who are tuning in at Facebook Live. We really appreciate you being here. Your comments and questions are important to us, and Jason is here because he just wants to help everybody, as
I
do
love
we.
that.
We have seen the recovery community in New Hampshire improve exponentially, especially over the last year and even the last 6 months. I heard the overdose rates have gone down like 20%. And I think we can attest
awesome.
that to a lot of people who are in prayer, as we had Greg Winslow was here.
Yes.
He's the one from If My People New Hampshire. He came the other day. He was sharing about how they are getting together. I just want to remind people that is on Sunday night, I believe, 5 o'clock at the
Vineyard Church.
At the Vineyard Church. If you are in the recovery community or are interested in praying for those in recovery and those working in this area, you might want to check that out too. All right, so Jason, we're glad that you're here.
Thank you.
Appreciate obviously that you have a testimony. We always say that if you don't usually have a testimony unless there's been a test, and so I'm sure you've been through some testing with your own issues in recovery. Would you be able to share some of your story, how you got involved in that world, and tell us what God has done for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my testimony really begins when I was about 12 years old. I was misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder. I was put in a mental institution for a little bit of time and prescribed various medications, antidepressants, which, due to the misdiagnosis, only made me more depressed. I became suicidal, and I don't know how I lived to be past 14 years old, actually, from the amount of times I tried to kill myself.
Miracle.
Yeah, so a few years later, unfortunately, my parents got a divorce. My father was cheating on my mom, and he moved out. And, he was really stern and strict, and without his guidance, without his structure and whatnot, I just became rebellious, started just acting out. I started dabbling in drugs at that time, smoking and drinking almost on a daily basis, and got arrested in high school twice before I ever graduated. So I just spiraled out of control at that point. Went to college for a couple semesters and just canceled that, doing more drugs. Kept getting arrested over and over and over again. It was just chaotic. I just stopped life in general.
It sounds like your world was kind of just spinning out of control.
I started selling drugs in high school, and I took that on primarily from the time I was about 18 years old to about 22. I worked odd jobs here and there, but I never really solidified myself in the community, and just, like I said, primarily sold drugs. Would go down to Massachusetts, Vermont, Maine, and just travel. Just lived a party lifestyle, really, from the time I was 19, 20 years old.
Can I ask you a question in this area?
Yeah.
Just thinking about this, I'm thinking to myself, in hindsight now, looking back, what was it that you think caused you to go out of control? Were you angry? Were you, were there a lot of, what was it, do you feel, that caused you to go out of control?
I think it was the want to be popular and whatnot. When I was in high school, like I said, the drugs that the doctors put me on made me balloon up to almost 300 pounds. So I was like an outcast in high school, and I found the drugs as an outlet to popularity and money, and putting those two together at such a young age, you just wanted the high life and wanted to feel accepted and wanted in life.
Yeah.
So I took that on, and people always wanted me if I had drugs, and if I didn't, then they didn't want anything to do with me.
Right. So as Jen and I have talked about before, everyone needs love and acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just I believe if you think about the babies over in China who are in these homes, a lot of them aren't ever held or anything, and they never cry because they haven't learned that bond or connection. Mm-hmm. So it's extremely important for the human condition and for the soul to have acceptance and connection and love. And so do you feel like that wasn't something that was available to you, or it's just you didn't know how to connect with that?
I would say more so the connection part, especially being disassociated with my feelings with all the medications and whatnot. I didn't know how to express myself or how to show emotions at that. Growing up, my father wasn't always there, didn't really instill manly principles in me, so I had to learn through the streets, through other people, and society at that. And, society isn't always right in what they tell us. So,
exactly.
I found out the hard way that...
School of hard knocks,
yeah,
right?
Pretty much, yeah. So that's what I've learned, is that I never lived life on life's terms, and I always disassociated myself with drugs or something else.
Mm-hmm. So what was the big turning point for you where you were kind of like delivered from that bondage type of thinking?
It took a few years from that. Like I said, I went into Teen Challenge 3 years ago after, every sort of drug that you can imagine. But what took me down was heroin. I got arrested for possession, sales, and transportation with my then 3-year-old son in the vehicle with me, and my wife divorced me. She took everything at that point. And once again, instead of getting help, I just became hopeless all over again. A few months later, I watched one of my friends get arrested on a second felony possession, and I had another friend overdose right in front of me, and I realized that I was going to be one of those two people real quick if I didn't get help. And so that's when I actively started looking for a recovery process.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
so you did that on your own. You started looking on your own.
Yeah, it took some
that's
guidance,
awesome.
too. It was my mom who told me about the program, because I tried getting into rehabs and detoxes, but not a lot of places in New Hampshire, nobody would take me due to the fact that I didn't have insurance.
Right, and that's a big pitfall right there.
Hopefully, I think that is changing somewhat now. I can't help but ask you, there's a certain element of shame that comes along with being addicted and going through things like that. I'm really delighted to hear you talking and very vulnerable and honest. And you can tell there's none of that on you right now. Like you're not in that place anymore. What changed that for you? Because I know for most people, it's the stigmas that really make it difficult.
What really changed it was, believing that it is possible. You always hear the bad stories about people who don't make it out of recovery, or like I've been to AA before, and they always tell the same old war stories over and over again. I mean, AA is a great program, and it does work. It definitely didn't work for me, however. It was...
That's such a good point that you're making.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, the show is called In It Together with Lori Lynn Greene, and it's positive radio. And we like to talk about the success stories, because then what it does, it shows people it's been done. So that means it's possible. So it gives you a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
So it's so good for you to have recognized that, okay, there are success stories, and that's what I need to focus on, because Lord knows there's enough bad news. I mean, you hear it all the time on the news, and you never really hear any resolved. They want to talk about it, but there's nobody actually saying that they're, there's a healthy conviction, I think, that people can have where you witness something that's not right, and then because you've witnessed it, you feel like, I need to do something about this, change. But as it is now, we listen to the news, and they glory in all the bad news, and nobody rises up to say, oh, let's do something about it.
And that's what it is.
Until I met Lori Lynn Greene.
The good news, and I know this is different, being all positive programming, the idea is, I believe, whatever you put before someone is what they will eventually adopt and believe
Whatever
for themselves.
You focus
so
on
I'm thinking,
grows.
we already know what's wrong. We already know the problems, but focusing on the problem never causes a solution for the problem.
Exactly.
So I believe
Good
that
point made.
as we focus on what are the possibilities, what's positive, And more importantly, when I think about, people talk about positive thinking and stuff, that positive thinking is better than negative thinking, but I'm talking about redemptive thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking the way that God thinks, in the mind of God.
Real transformation, authentic, long-lasting.
And from what I'm hearing from you in Teen Challenge, this is their focus. This is what separates them, what makes them different from a lot of other organizations, is they are not just out to keep you alive, but there's a transforming power that can only come from one place.
Amen. That's right. Yeah. So Teen Challenge is a biblically founded, principled program started by a pastor back in 1958 up in Brooklyn, New York, and we've kept those principles still to this day. Yes, David Wilkerson. If you ever read The Cross and Switchblade or seen the movie at all,
we actually saw Nikki Cruz live.
Wow.
At Faith Christian Center many years ago. And that's what that story is about. And that's a phenomenal story.
Yeah.
I share that story often.
Just like it started right there with Nikki Cruz and that one transformation, and it's bloomed all over the world now. We have over 1,600 centers worldwide, but still principally founded in the Word of God. The Bible says that to transform your mind through the renewing of the Holy Spirit. And with that, as you said, with the positive thinking, like we don't look in the past, we look towards the future and the hope that we now have through Jesus Christ, who sets you free. As much as it is addiction, it's also a sin issue at the root base of it. What was causing you to find your hope in other things other than
And I
God.
just want to talk about this
I
one.
like that
Yeah,
point.
I want to talk
That's a
about that
very
part for
awesome
1
point.
second. The word sin itself just means missing the mark, and we talk about missing the mark of what God's best is for us. So this isn't a condemnation in itself. We're born into it until we're born again into Him. And then that's where the redemptive power comes in, the grace of God, the washing from all of that, cleansing. There's a cleansing. So you must have had a time of cleansing.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Tell us about
it went
that.
over and
Say
over
the
again.
least.
So yeah, I mean, it was a long process for myself. Like I didn't really get it until almost a year through the program. It was a struggle, it was a fight.
Isn't it, though?
It really is.
It's an identity crisis is what it is.
Like I said, I started doing drugs when I was about 12 years old, so my entire adult life, that's the one thing I always fell back to. Like I was born and raised going to church, but like it was more so, learning about God versus learning about the relationship with Christ.
So key.
I mean, I was broken when I went in there, and I just didn't know how to live life on life's terms, like I said before. And it took a process of, crying out to God, asking for help over and over again, and learning a new way of thinking, a new way of living, really, which is scary, the change. And
change is scary because it's the unknown. And this is where the element of faith comes in. It's like we receive the free gift, and we do it by faith. It's not because we know. It's because we have to trust something we don't know. That's probably one of the hardest things we can do, but it's the greatest thing that we can do because that's what it's about.
Yeah, walking out in faith and then actually watching God just carry you through at the end. And that was where it was, is, having to surrender and say, all right, God, I messed up now, fix this. And it's not the instant fix. It's not the American dream. It's not going to happen all at once. And, it's the struggle. God tests us, as he says in James 1. But it's a testing of your faith, and that through trials and perseverance that he'll make you whole and complete again. And I was put through many, many trials, but, that's what formed me to be able to have that success at the end, to say that, God helped me overcome. It wasn't on myself. I couldn't do anything on my own. I tried and I failed, and I failed over and over again until Christ met me where I was at and said, all right, I'll take this from you, and now you have this new life.
That is awesome. That is true, the testing of our faith, and it's every day. And this is, I think, something that a lot of us struggle with. Jen and I talk about, as this is recovery now, that we are all in recovery, recovering our life. What does that mean? Well, we are recovering or unveiling or getting a revelation of who we really are. And until we do, we stay in that place of suffering and wanting and needing and lacking.
Looking for identity and looking for acceptance when
looking
we're already
for all
accepted.
the wrong places. And it's, God talks so much about this, to know who you are in Christ. And the way that we know who we are is by knowing who he is and who he says we are. And we are blessed. We are loved. We are accepted. We are valued. He calls us sons and daughters. I mean, so we're talking about a loving father, not one who's just waiting for you to mess up. And I think that's hard for people to wrap themselves around, especially if they've had a past. But what we've learned is everyone's had a past. We're all recovering our life. When circumstances and situations come in, we have to, remind ourselves what God says about us and not just what we're seeing. And so this is the walk of faith, and it's a daily thing, right? And the more you begin to trust it, the more that hope comes up. And when something comes up now, you don't see it as, oh, no, this is going to take me out, but this is an opportunity for God to shine, for us to see him work powerfully in our lives. And so I want to know, when you first got in, were there particular relationships that really helped you with that connection? Did you have a certain counselor or something like that helped you with that connection?
It's funny. I was actually talking with one of the residents yesterday about this. It wasn't a specific staff member, but more so the students that are given leadership responsibilities once they've been there a longer time. So 6 months, 9 months, a year or so. They're given house responsibilities of watching over other students. But they're the ones that are, you live with and you do daily routines with, and they get to know you quicker than most of the staff members do. But I remember this one student, I was struggling. I was only there about maybe 5 or 6 weeks, and I just wanted to leave. And I forget the actual conversation, but, he took 5 minutes out of his day and talked to me and told me that, that there was worth in me, that I was able to do this, and I just have to stick it out. And honestly, if it wasn't for that one conversation, I probably wouldn't have stayed.
Lord.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that is a powerful statement. There is worth in you. There is value in your life. You know how many people don't even hear that in their life? But that's what God wants to say to us. And it's interesting how so many of us, especially when going through something difficult, we feel, I call it the Tigger complex, where we feel like we're the only one. We feel like nobody understands, I'm going through this and nobody could possibly relate to me. But those that know God and those who have been in his presence know that he relates to us. Everything that seems empty, every void, he fills. And so we do have to take a very short break, though. So we'll be back. I want to hear more of your story. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Little Leapers and Knowledge Keepers Childcare and Preschool offers learning experiences that give kids a healthy sense of self and meaningful connections to the world around them. We teach children from a positive perspective so they learn healthy conflict resolution and develop character. Owner Jennifer Lever has over 28 years' experience in child development. She's helped children learn to read as young as 18 months. Join our happy place where we make happy happen, located in Pinardville, bordering Bedford and Manchester. Call today at 603-491-1780. Morgan Self-Storage has been serving Manchester and Salem, New Hampshire for over 15 years. Facilities are heated with security and video surveillance in well-lit hallways, easy access loading, and high-capacity elevators. With many-sized units, portable trailers, and boxes for moving, we can meet your residential or business storage needs. 400 Bedford Street in Manchester or 8 Willow Street in Salem. Visit morganstorage.com or call us at 603-623-2000. Morgan Self-Storage, making self-storage secure, safe, and easy.
Hi, I'm Jen Lever, anchor of the Recovery Now segments. Join me Tuesdays at 9 a.m. where I offer support to families struggling with addiction. Hear personal stories, learn the signs of addiction, and get help for your loved ones. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Greene.
Hi, this is Lori Lynn Greene, Advancement Strategist and Coach Trainer at alphaadvancementstrategies.com. Join me Mondays at 9 a.m. where I'll talk about ways to help keep you moving forward in life. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Greene. Welcome back to In It Together in the midst of Recovery Now with Jen Lever and Jason Hart from Teen Challenge. Hearing a little bit about his story, and hopefully this has been an encouragement to you. Those of you who are either listening live or on the radio show, or if you are on the Facebook Live, please, we would love to hear your questions or your comments. You can post them on the In It Together with Lori Lynn Greene Facebook Live right now, or you can give us a call at 603-384-3535. We would love to hear from you. Even if you have some encouragement for Jason, that would be great too. So now you find yourself in Teen Challenge here in New Hampshire. Tell us how you got into that position and what that entails.
I got into it through my mom. I remember I was dope sick one day on living at my mom's house, and she came in after work and was just like, I heard about this program. It's called Teen Challenge. Would you just, check it out?
Which is not just for teens.
Right. I thought she was like...
Yeah, not just for teens.
Right. I was like, it's called Teen Challenge, Mom. Like,
there we go.
So
don't you know
like,
cool?
Right. And she's like, no, just check it out. So I watched a video on their Facebook, and I gave them a call, and out of the half a dozen or so places that I called, they were one of the few that answered and also said that they would take me in regardless of my situation.
Wow.
The only requirement was that I get a physical and a TB shot, and I was like, I don't have insurance. How am I gonna even go to the hospital like that? No, just try. And so I called the hospital, and they took me in the next day. And so when I called on a Monday, I came in that Friday. So it took all of 4 days to get into the program.
Wow, that's amazing.
Which is unheard of. Yeah. Most other rehabs, even the clinics, were like it's a 30 to 60 day wait minimum. So within 4 days, I was able to come into the program. All by one leap of faith from my mom. She actually heard about it from our pastor. So it's just this LinkedIn connection of people who told people, and
In It Together.
Yeah, that's right. So that's how I heard about it.
Now, this is Teen Challenge here in New Hampshire. Obviously, there's different locations, right?
Right.
And so you're in the one. Is it on Taylor Street? Or?
Laurel Street.
Laurel Street.
Yep.
Okay. And so, for those who don't know or know somebody they love that they want to get help for, could you tell us what a typical day is like?
Typical day is first you wake up. You usually have about a half an hour to shave, shower, and get ready. And there's prayer right after that for another half an hour, and then breakfast. And after each and every meal, we clean as well. So top to bottom, the entire house is cleaned 3 times a day. So after breakfast, after jobs, then we have the Learning Center, which is the part of the program that I run. It's like the school of the program. Each student has a core curriculum that they have to complete before graduating the program. So they have usually 12 syllabuses for a normal 15-month resident, or 6 syllabuses for a restoration student. And it's principled in learning biblical doctrine, scriptures, and character qualities, Christ-like character qualities, as well as projects that they have to complete. So they're given a few hours throughout the day to be in the LC, and then lunch. Sometimes those students that are over, 30 to 60 days, we allow them to go out. We do specific ministries, whether it be the drug awareness team. If you ever see us outside of Walmart or a gas station, we go fundraise Thursday, Friday, Saturdays throughout the week, depending on the weather. These past couple weeks, we haven't gone out due to the brutal cold. But other programs, we do a landscaping crew throughout the springtime and fall, and cleanups and stuff like that. Or sometimes even shoveling, depending on the
weather. You guys do other things as well.
Oh, yeah.
We had Teen Challenge do my daughter's wedding.
Oh, yeah, catering?
Catering.
They did
Oh,
catering.
nice.
We had this entire pasta buffet of all kinds of different pastas. That was pretty amazing. So that was a great opportunity. Are there other opportunities like that?
Oh, yeah. We do community events, like specifically here in Manchester. We do a Harley raffle and Ride for Freedom.
I know they usually put the Harley at my business on West Road.
So we
They
raffle
haven't
off
last year, though.
raffle off a brand new Harley each and every year. And we do I think it's a 100-mile ride from the Manchester Harley dealership to Peterborough and back again. All-day event of that. We do a banquet once a year, golf tournament. This year we're also looking into a 5K race as well here in Manchester. So there's definitely a bunch of different community outreaches, as well as we do an end addiction campaign where we go into specific schools or community outreaches at that, home shows and whatnot. And you could do similar to this. We send our students there to like in school aspects of it, we send them to do kind of like what the DARE program was back in the day, but we just hit it to them raw, and we tell the students, this is my story, and learn from our mistakes and instill positive life choices for the students.
Now, you're able to go into all different types of schools?
Yeah. Like last week, I was at Monadnock Regional High School, which was actually where I went to high school.
Wow.
And
Awesome.
was able to speak there. Within secular schools, we do take the religious aspect out of it. But if we do go to a private school or whatnot, and they do allow us to speak about it, yeah. So we do tailor it to the specific needs of the communities and whatnot, but still instilling the same principles of.
Now, you also go to churches, different churches, and you share testimonies and things.
Correct. Yeah, we do a choir ministry, so we sing, we share testimonies, and preach a little bit.
A choir ministry.
Correct.
Okay.
I remember when they came back to
I've been
Shiloh.
to a few of those.
I think it's called church services now. Over the last few years, we've changed a few of the core names of it, but still the same principles of sharing and singing. And
I remember when they came to Shiloh and I sponsored somebody before I knew that my son was going to have a problem, and it was almost like I was planting seeds ahead of time for his recovery someday.
But that's actually one of the biggest ways that we get community support is our student sponsorship, actually. That's churches and community members that support us. It's like $1 a day program, or $365 throughout the year and whatnot. But it's churches and community members that really, really support us and keep us open due to the fact that we are faith-based. We don't receive federal or government assistance other than food stamps. So
hopefully that'll change.
I think this is interesting. If we think about this, okay, you don't receive that, and yet your success rate is higher. We need to understand that throwing money at a problem doesn't solve it.
Oh, no.
I think we would be wise to learn from what's working. Now, currently, Jen is part of a
task force
called the Good Samaritan Network here in New Hampshire,
which somebody from Teen Challenge is part of, because the governor has asked the faith community to be a major answer to this crisis, because he's seeing the results that are happening. And so we're building a network all over New England so that people have resources and that churches are even prepared on how to handle it, because even churches don't even know how to handle, for the most part, those in their congregation that are struggling with a very bad addiction. They just, it's a lot of it, which is hopefully no longer has to do with like even the stigma of that. Like I remember at the time, like, my son was going through it. Nobody knew how to help me or even ask me about it because they felt I should be ashamed or something.
Right, yeah.
And so, so just reteaching even the church, the body, just how to look at this differently. They're just as valuable as anybody else.
Well, let's just be honest up front about it, okay? We can't shame and disown a group of people because they sin differently than we do.
Right, exactly.
I mean, let's just be honest about this. And that's what we do. We're like, oh, those losers or this and that.
A crumpled, dirtied up $100 bill is the same value as one that's brand spanking new. It's like, and that's how God sees us.
I know people that have ironed it. But no, I mean, we're just being real here. Every life is important. Every life is value to it. And I think really the measure of how we treat those most vulnerable really says more about us than it does about them. And I would like to think, I actually do believe, I'm very, very proud of our community of rising up to this crisis that we find ourselves faced. What's that new thing coming up? The O'Learys have this building in Salem now. I'm sorry, I forget the name of it, but I'll tell you something. I know I posted it on my Facebook page here, the show page. So go
I have to follow up on that. There's
a video on there. It is great news. They got
Time Magazine's following up on them.
They were given a humongous building, and they have put a call out to the Christian community to anybody who has capable hands to help with the building and all kinds of stuff at the project.
Sweet. I have
think,
power tools.
I love this.
No idea.
This is in it together. So this is my thought. So everybody who's in this community should be excited about this. Anytime that we can create a program, especially a faith-based one, that can give people not just help for their physical things, but for their soul, for their spirit. It's very, very important to support that. And I believe the more people that know about it, the better.
I'm so glad you mentioned it.
Oh, yeah, tremendous. Well, we want to keep talking about what's going on in this recovery community, period.
Yes.
And So we have about a couple more minutes left, Jason. I want to give you a chance to close out and say whatever you want. If there's anything additionally that you would encourage somebody who is dealing with addiction or looking for a place to go to recovery,
and they're teetering,
and they're not sure what steps to take, what would you recommend for them?
It's scary, like I said, and it's not quick or easy as well. Recovery hopefully lasts a lifetime. So, it's not quick 30 or 60 days. It's for the rest of your life. Some people get it instantly, instilled principles in them, and they get it and they roll with it. But, what you do when the hard times come, it really determines your character and your willpower at that, too. Not to say that Teen Challenge is the best. There's so many programs out there.
But if they learn the fundamentals of the importance of the community aspect and the spiritual aspect, those are the real foundational things that need to be in place so that when tough things happen, at least they know what the next step is.
Exactly.
And Teen Challenge does offer that.
Also, it's just the community that you surround yourself with, too. Finding new people is hard sometimes, too, or distancing yourself from old people at that, too. But to be able to support yourself around a community of people that will support your decision and be acceptance of the person that you want to be. They say, you are the 5 closest people that you are around. So who's the persons that are around you that are pushing you to go to who you want to be?
Jesus.
No, it is very important your environment that you choose. So that's probably one of the most important things is who you surround yourself with. Absolutely. Can't agree with you more. There are a lot of, like I said, there are a lot of churches, groups, things like this where you can find a sense of community before you make a decision to do something that'll hurt you. And unfortunately, we are out of time, but I do want to give you both a second to give some contact information. Jen, why don't you give?
Jennifer Lever, lever.recoverynow@gmail.com.
And Jason Hart with Teen Challenge New Hampshire. It's 603-647-7770.
All right. Thank you both very much. We're going to take a very brief break, and I will tell you what's coming up tomorrow, so stay tuned. Hi, I'm Lori Lynn Greene, Advancement Strategist and owner of AlphaAdvancementStrategies.com. I've been very successful at helping people overcome stressful situations to get immediate results in their personal and professional lives. At Alpha Advancement Strategies, we provide a non-judgmental and supportive environment, empowering clients to focus more on reaching their goals. You can find us on the web at AlphaAdvancementStrategies.com or call us at 603-860-9260. Alpha Advancement Strategies is where you invest in yourself.
CrossNet Inc. offers computer and IT services for commercial clients as well as local personal users. We create tailor-made plans for your business's unique needs, from computer repairs to managing networks, servers, and desktops. CrossNet Inc. offers managed services, data backups, virus protection, web filtering, and more. For more information, go to crossnetinc.com or call for your personalized IT services today at 603-589-2520. CrossNet Inc. IT services that keep your business running when you're on the run.
Well, that concludes today's Recovery Now. If you want to join us tomorrow for It's a Wonderful Life, coach, speaker, and executive director of the John Maxwell team, Mark Major, will be here helping us to be more and do more. So have yourself a blessed day. And remember, we are in it together.